Hello, Bucknutters, and welcome into a mini roundtable version of the Morning Five here on May 7th, 2014. I am Dave Biddle, and I'm joined by Steve Hellwagon. The Big Ten announced on Tuesday that the men's basketball tournament will be held at the Verizon Center in Washington, D.C. in 2017. The tournament has always been held in either Chicago or Indianapolis, but it will head east in 2017. The tournament will be held in Chicago in 2015 and in Indianapolis in 2016 before making its debut in D.C. This is part of Commissioner Jim Delaney's plan to expand to the East Coast. We're less than 2 months away from Maryland and Rutgers joining the conference, and the Big Ten will also open an office in New York City by June 1st. Steve, what are your thoughts on the basketball tournament heading to D.C. in 2017 and everything else Jim Delaney is doing?
Well, it can't hurt to expand the footprint of the Big Ten and, expand the revenue base, I think, is the biggest thing. I've covered every Big Ten basketball tournament back to 1998, the first one between Chicago and Indianapolis. And as a one-time thing, I say, go for it. I say, let's try something different one year in Washington, D.C. Our colleague Dan Rubin says that there's a lot going on around the Verizon Center in Washington, D.C., and that, I think, is the important thing, is we found in Indianapolis, everything is right downtown, it's walking distance, and these kind of things. So, if they can keep the problems to a minimum, which a lot of it's transportation and finding things to do in the city when you're not at the game, then I think I'm okay with it. Yeah, is it a little bit of a schlep for the other 13 schools and the fans of their schools to get there? Yeah, there's some good things and some bad things to it. I don't want to see it out there on any kind of a regular basis. It should be in Indianapolis most years. I like the direction it's headed. I mean, you gotta build and expand, and let's see how it goes. It'd kind of be what I'd say.
O-H-I-O.
Sticking with basketball, but moving to recruiting, the Buckeyes picked up a commitment from Austin Grandstaff on Sunday, and now have 3 commitments in their 2015 class, which ranks as the number 2 class in the country behind only Syracuse. Grandstaff joins point guard A.J. Harris from Dayton Dunbar and small forward Mickey Mitchell from Texas. Steve, just curious to get your thoughts on basketball recruiting overall. It's going well, of course, but do you think they're going to be able to keep Mitchell in this class? Just give us your thoughts on Mitchell and how you think recruiting is going for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, I think they will keep Mitchell. His high school coach told me several weeks ago that he still considers Mickey being committed to Ohio State, and Grandstaff and his commitment and the stories that came out said that he and Mitchell talk all the time, are looking forward to playing together at Ohio State, and, it's a major coup. They're getting 2 of the top 50 players in the country out of the state of Texas to come to Ohio and play. I think this indicates to me that there are some good players in the state of Ohio that, just aren't going to get offered to play at Ohio State, and that's good and bad because, on the one hand, they're bad because they'd be invested in the program, but it's good because Thad Matta is in it to win it. I mean, he's going for the gusto. He's trying to get the absolute best players he can get. They struck out on Luke Kennard, so what they do, they went and got one of the very next best shooting guards, which they desperately needed. Haven't had a three-point threat since John Diebler left. I love this move. I think they got to finish this class off with a big man. Daniel Giddens, Elijah Thomas, one of them perhaps, are both top 50 players. And also squeeze in one of those Ohio wings, Carlton Bragg or Asa Ahmad, who they recently offered. It just tells me, Dave, that he is going and making moves on the best players in the country, and that can only be a good thing as they chase, that elusive second national championship for that program and getting back to the Final Four. I mean, those things are in sight with these type players.
O-H-I-O.
Moving on to Ohio State football recruiting, Bill Kurlick's recruiting buzz is on the site now for premium subscribers. Bill has updates on defensive tackle Christian Wilkins, offensive tackle Austin Clark, and much more. Nobody brings the recruiting news stronger than Bill, and you have to be a Bucknuts subscriber to read his material. If you're not a subscriber, now's a great time to try our 30-day free trial. You also get the daily boarding house and everything else that comes along with being a Bucknuts subscriber, so try our 30-day free trial. 24/7 Sports could knock it back to 7 days at any time, so take advantage of that while you can.
O-H-I-O.
Moving on, James Franklin and Penn State, Steve, have the number 2 recruiting class in the nation. I know, this guy. Trailing only Alabama. They just landed Sterling Jenkins and Brandon Wimbush, a couple of guys the Buckeyes wanted. That gives them a total of 15 commitments. Now, we've seen this before. New coach takes over. There's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of holes to fill. He can promise immediate playing time. I think they had like 50 scholarship players at one point last year. And even Brady Hoke last year, going into his third year, Michigan had the number one recruiting class in the nation early, and Ohio State just completely lapped them at the end. Should Buckeye fans be concerned here? Just talk about what's going on at Penn State.
Well, he's building a program. There's no doubt about that. And, a lot of it started with Bill O'Brien and Christian Hackenberg. They got the ball rolling with this, and James Franklin is picking it up, and he is headed toward the goal line with it. And, this is going to be, as I've said, this Big Ten East is going to be, along with the SEC West, one of, if not the toughest divisions in college football going forward, because, Michigan's not going to be down forever. Michigan State is currently at the best position that program has ever been in. Ohio State is obviously got Urban Meyer 24-2 the last 2 years and got its sights set on a playoff berth this coming year. And Penn State, 2 more years of probation and bowl bans, but the kids that they are getting to commit now will only have to sit out 1 year, and then they'll be eligible to play for championships and bowl bids and everything else. So he is really assembling a program. Wimbush, I think at one point people thought Ohio State could be a destination for him. Too bad to see him go to Penn State. He'll be the heir apparent, it seems, for Hackenberg. And then, of course, after that, Sterling Jenkins, a big-time offensive lineman out of the Pittsburgh area. I saw him at camp last year. He's getting great players. He's getting top 100 players on top of each other. Ohio State's going to have to pick it up. I mean, they got 2 commitments, and, they're in on half the world. Now it's time to close and get some people signed in this class, get commitments, and I think, Torrance Gibson, the quarterback out of Fort Lauderdale, you guys probably talked about this on the show yesterday, but it put out his top 15. I've never seen this, where a guy lists 1 to 15 his choices. Ohio State was at number 4 behind Tennessee, Auburn, and LSU, and he readily admitted, I've never been to Ohio State. They'll probably be higher once I get up there for a visit. Getting him on campus is going to be key. But, yeah, I think Ohio State's got some needs. It's a young team at Ohio State. I think people need to think about that. There's plenty of depth. It's young depth. There aren't a lot of seniors. They're going to be just fine. But having said that, I think that the rank and file OSU fans would love to see some quality commitments in the months ahead.
No doubt. Hopefully a rash of commitments are going to follow here in the next few weeks, few months. I'm sure that will happen. Well, great stuff, Steve, and thanks to everybody out there for joining us for the Morning 5. Hope everybody has a great day.